Hello, thank you for joining us for this Canyon Professional Development session. The title of this session is Using AI to Write IEPs and to Do Special Education Paperwork. My name is Dr. Rebecca Dyer, and I'm a full professor in the College of Education at Grand Canyon University. First, we'll start with our why, which is to empower, educate, and inspire our community so they take action to fulfill their purpose and to serve others. So as we get started, I want you to think about a couple questions. First, how can I use artificial intelligence or AI to be used in managing special education paperwork? Also, what legal and ethical things do I need to consider when using AI for special education paperwork? So you can take a moment to consider those questions as we get started. The objectives for this session are first, to explore the transformative potential of artificial intelligence in streamlining the creation and management of IEPs and other special education paperwork. Second, we'll learn how to use AI tools to simplify the documentation process, enhance accuracy, and to save valuable time. Finally, we'll understand best practices for maintaining confidentiality and adhering to special education laws while using AI. It's important to remember specific parameters when using AI for special education paperwork. As we know, there are legal implications we must consider. So I have some reminders here for you. First, special education is individualized, and that is not going to change even when we use AI. Individualized education plans, IEPs, are not standardized. We know that special education and IEPs must be unique to each individual student and their needs. So I remind you to use AI cautiously, and we'll always make sure we do not include any identifying information. There are 10 reasons to use AI in special education. First, personalized learning. It can be used to develop personalized learning for students despite any differences. This includes lesson plans with differentiation and also IEP accommodations and modifications. Second, it can provide data-driven insights. AI can analyze data to make instructional decisions. It can also be used to enhance accessibility. Instructional content can be enhanced through AI by providing multiple modalities for students to access. Number 4, efficient resource management. Teachers can assist other teachers in finding and accessing resources to help them do their job better. The 5th reason to use AI in special education is improved student engagement. Teachers can input their lesson plans into AI and ask it to generate a variety of engagement strategies. It's also helpful for early intervention. AI has the ability to develop interventions that can be implemented for students in the early stages of development. Also, 24/7 support can be provided from AI because it is always available. Number 8, it provides enhanced communication. We can also use AI to generate any type of communication, such as emails, letters, and other documents. And the final 2 reasons to use AI in special education are professional development support. For those that are responsible for creating professional development for educators, they can use AI to tailor the PD sessions to the specific needs of the participants. It can also be used for scalable interventions. As teachers work to implement interventions, they can use AI to scaffold those interventions and to differentiate them to meet the needs of all learners. So let's explore how AI can possibly support your work, specifically in special education. We'll look at using it to manage paperwork, to write IEP goals, and also to generate accommodations. The management of special education paperwork is often very overwhelming for teachers. Everything we do in special education specifically has to be documented. Everything must be data-driven. This is important in ensuring efficiency and making sure that we're meeting student-specific needs, but we also know that can be very time-consuming. There are a lot of things that AI can be used for to support the paperwork that we have to do for special education. And we must remember it's very important to not rely solely on AI or to simply copy and paste anything that AI generates. We want to always review the information and ensure it is still tailored for the specific student in a personalized way. Here's some examples of how we can use AI for paperwork. We can use it to generate draft documents such as the IEP present levels and also the multidisciplinary evaluation team report. We can also have it help us generate goals and objectives to align with students' needs and help us with data tracking and progress monitoring. We can use that to help brainstorm accommodations and modifications, behavior intervention plans, transition plans. It can also be very helpful in taking text and making it more appropriate for a student's particular grade level where they read. And we can also use it to help us develop our meeting agendas for IEP meetings. So as we know, when we're writing IEP goals, they must always be aligned with the student's very specific needs. They must be aligned with the standards, and they must be measurable. These are things that we already know about IEP goals, but we want to make sure we continue to keep that focus. So I want to give you some examples of a prompt that you could input into AI to help you generate an IEP goal. So this one says, you are an expert special needs teacher and skilled writer, skilled in communicating your students' academic objectives and writing. Your task is to write a goal. You would put the goal area, IEP goal for my student, put the grade level, to understand a specific topic. And then you would say, make the IEP goal specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and what would the time frame be? So you could take this prompt and input the specific information to generate an IEP goal. This is an example with a specific student. So again, you're an expert special needs teacher and you're skilled in communicating your students' academic objectives for writing. Your task is to write a writing and grammar IEP goal for my second grade student to understand capitalization. Make the IEP goal specific. They should be able to recognize grammatical errors of incorrectly capitalized sentences with proper nouns such as people, pets, and the names of places. Measurable, we want the student will make capitalization corrections correctly in 8 out of 10 work samples, improving from their current baseline of 0 out of 10 work samples in 10 consecutive trials. Attainable, reasonable, and time bound. We want to do that within 3 months. So this again is the prompt, but with those specific details included. As you develop IEP goals, AI can help you be creative with them and also develop content that is aligned with them. So you may be able to use it to expand on any aspect of the goal. You may be able to use it to help you design lesson plans that are specifically aligned with the IEP goals and set up written work sample assessments to measure the student's progress on the IEP goals. As you begin implementing IEP goals, AI can be used to support your work on the goals throughout the year. So it can help you with ideas to integrate goal learning into the rest of the student's curriculum. And it can help you adjust the goal once it's been achieved, or maybe if you feel like it wasn't an appropriate goal and it needs to be changed. You can also use AI to generate accommodations. So you could take a student description and put it into an AI to generate the accommodations. But please don't forget, we're not going to include students' names or any other identifying information. So we want to, and as we get that list of accommodations, we want to make sure it's aligned with the student's unique needs, applicable to the placement that they're in, and sustainable. Will we be able to keep providing those accommodations in the setting that the student's in? Here are some examples of prompts that can be used to generate accommodations. Again, you would plug in some specific identifying information, but these are different ways that you could generate accommodations to meet a student's unique needs. And I encourage you to go ahead, and there's lots of different, I'll give you some resources at the end here where there's different platforms for IEP support with AI. This is one example called Khan Academy. So you can set up a free account to just start working with that. I do encourage you to make sure you're checking with your school or your district on what parameters they have around AI, specifically with writing IEPs. But if you'd like, you could go to Khan Academy and try it. And then here's an example of what it will look like once you kind of get your account set up and go into the IEP assistant. So you would put this information in, you would describe the learning environment, definitely tell them what disability category the student has. And again, it even reminds you here, please do not share any personally identifiable information. Here you would provide details on the student's current challenges and then also the current strengths. And then once you plug in all this information, it will help you generate goals and also accommodations that you could use as a foundation for what you include in the IEP. And as we know and we've emphasized how important it is to make sure we're looking at any legal or ethical issues with regards to AI, I have a few more things that you want to think about with areas of caution. So we want to make sure we're considering any lack of judgment in our human intuition. As we're writing an IEP for a student, it's someone that we work with, a student that we know. We want to make sure we're first relying on our personal information that we know about the student and what's best for them rather than relying solely on the AI. We know AI can analyze data efficiently and make recommendations, but it lacks the human judgment and intuition that we possess as teachers and as special education teachers. We also understand the students' unique needs and emotions, any nuances. So we want to make sure that we're relying first on that as our primary judgment. Also, there might be an inability to adapt to individual contexts. So relying solely on AI for IEP writing may result in a lack of nuanced decision-making that could impact a child for their whole school life or beyond. There may be some unintentional bias there with the use of AI. And then again, we're going to make sure there's no breach of privacy because we want to make sure we're following all confidentiality guidelines according to the special education laws. So as you think about maybe starting to use AI in your special education paperwork, specifically in IEPs, I hope this information was helpful for you as you get started. So take a minute and reflect and think about 3 takeaways you have from this session, maybe 2 questions you still have, and 1 thing you enjoyed. And hopefully you have some people that you can collaborate with as you make these considerations and go ahead and reflect on that. And thank you so much for joining our session today.